Uniform Education is the official recruitment sponsor for the SLT podcast. They specialize in SEN recruitment in and around London. So if you are an SEN provision, a mainstream school, a local authority who needs specific SEN trained staff, make sure you contact Uniform Education and don't forget to mention the SLT podcast. Welcome back to the SLT podcast. You know how it goes. We do our kind of full deep dive on our guests, and then we do our question and answer session, which is a bit of a more less formal, less structured way of doing it. We have Hugo, who is back, the one who got away. So we're going to focus on, and we're going to be honest, we know there are people who are thinking about leaving teaching, yeah? And that's what the kind of questions are going to be on. Not to focus, I don't want to make this your thing,
yeah.
but I think you're one of the first people we have had on who was a teacher who got away.
Do you know what's so funny? I was thinking in the car over here, I remember once saying to you, because I knew you had your business, we were chatting at school about it, and I remember saying to you, all I want to do is figure out how to achieve A, B, and C revenue goal without having all the strain of teaching. And you were like, I don't know if it's going to be possible. I said, I'll tell you what, bro, when I get it sorted, I'll come back and tell you how to do it. And
I'm mainly remembering that, yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Cool.
Questions?
No problem. Listen, also, remember you said we were talking off air and you were saying you're willing to help.
Yeah.
So talk before we kind of get into the question section, talk to us about how you may be able to help teachers.
For definite, yes. What I do is digital marketing or online marketing and AI streamlining, shall we say, for healthcare clinics, right? That's what we focus on.
Cool.
But that being said, a lot of it is transferable. So I can help in many different areas. It's not like a paid service that I offer to teachers and things like that, but I'm happy to help. I have loads of friends who are teachers who I help with all this kind of stuff all the time. It's like
some have made the jump, some haven't.
Yeah. It's like, I can't help it. Even as soon as I came on here on the podcast, I was thinking, you should do this and you should try that.
Yeah.
But, I have some people who are thinking about leaving and they speak with me about like, what are my options and am I doing this? Should I try and do that? Or people who have actually left and are then thinking like, how do I get this business thing to work a little bit better? And I've really done that. I created a business with zero capital on my laptop and I made it so that it's an actual thing. We have a bunch of people working with us. We have a ton of clients. We have awesome results. And it's like a fully fledged thing that started from nothing. So I know it can be done. I'm not anything special. Tons of people have done that.
How do we contact you?
You can email me, hugo@growpatiently.com, my work email. That's probably the best way to get in touch with me.
What about LinkedIn?
Well, yeah, of course, you can get me on LinkedIn. Just type in Hugo Trace into Google, you'll find me. There's a website as well. You can contact me through that. But I'd love to hear from teachers. That would be so fun to talk about. I love hearing the stuff that people are thinking about they're going to do.
LinkedIn has been like an ongoing, underlying current on this podcast. For anybody who's kind of watched episodes back to back, you'll be aware that there's a bit of an ongoing joke about people who are on LinkedIn and people who aren't. And I'm just going to leave it there. So make sure you're on LinkedIn. And that's going to be a great way to contact Hugo. Even if you've got any questions, say, I saw you on the SLT podcast, blah, 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 blah. But let's get into it. As you were saying, there are teachers who are thinking about leaving, but maybe they don't want to say out loud. And as you say, it is scary because teaching provides you with stability and structure as well. Because I find also when I'm on holiday, my diet goes out the window, like some madness. So it's that real structure. So first question is going to be, how do I know if I actually need to leave or am I just burnt out? Because there's loads of teachers who are burnt out. So how do I know if I actually need to leave or am I just burnt out?
I would probably ask if you're burnt out, does that not mean that you need to leave?
True.
I think. I'm working way harder. I have far more pressure and I'm way more intense, but I'm not burnt out.
Elaborate. That does make it.
Well, what I'm saying is that now my new work that I do is incredibly intense, and I'm really trying to do big things essentially. And I find it obviously stressful and all this kind of stuff. And I put in a lot of hours and a lot of effort, but I don't feel the same kind of strain that I did when I was teaching. That thing I spoke about on the previous episode about how, I had this crushing feeling in teaching I've never experienced before. And it's very, very strange.
Yeah.
I suppose maybe it is burnt out. I don't really know. So how do you know if you want to leave? Gosh, well, for me, it was when I realized that I wasn't just enjoying it at all. I didn't really want to be there. I didn't really feel like what I was doing was having a big impact, not just for the people who I was meant to be having an impact for, but also for myself. I think it's okay for you in your life to also look after yourself. I think in teachers sometimes get this obsessive idea of that, they're just here for the kids. That's ludicrous. Like, you wouldn't be there if you didn't get paid anything at all. So it logically doesn't make sense. And so with that same logic, I would say it's important for you to look after yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
If you want to help your own family and you want to help other families, you've got to also be able to help yourself first. You really do. So, if you're not enjoying it and you're not feeling like you're having an impact for yourself or for others, you're drinking like 100 cups of tea or coffee. I mean, I had the most savage caffeine addiction ever. It was totally insane.
You're lucky it was just caffeine addiction. There are some people who have teachers are very well renowned to enjoy a bottle of wine every night.
For sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
So I think.
So you cut down on the caffeine?
Yeah. Now I do half caffeine, half decaf in the coffee blend.
Cool.
And then I just have the one cup in the morning. And then if I'm really tired or whatever, then I might have one like green tea or something later. But I used to just have one every break. Every time there was any kind of break, I'd have a tea or a coffee. That's not good.
Yeah, it should. Yeah. All right. So it's about just kind of sum that up. It's about you described that crushing thing. I remember getting that in my PGCE. I don't think I've ever spoken about this on the pod. I walked out of my PGCE.
Really?
Yeah, like March. So I think we only had like 2 months left.
Yeah.
And that's the first time you just felt like this crush. I'd never felt it before in my life. I had this real crushing sensation, and I woke up. I think it was, I went in Monday. No, I did the Monday session, and I just couldn't go to do the school session Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday to Friday. I said, no, I'm not doing it. Luckily, I had an amazing PGC tutor who said, you know what? Come back in January, we'll find you a new school. So sometimes it's the school, sometimes it's the environment. I know you spoke about it the other day, like square peg, round hole. But I think, sometimes you may need to take a step back and really assess, is this for you? Is this school for you? Is education for you? Is it a change of environment? But if you do feel that crushing sensation, you need to make some damn changes.
It does make a difference which school you're in. I think maybe I could have gone to a different school. I think if the first head teacher, you've had him on the podcast, the G-Man himself.
Yeah, the boss.
I don't want to big him up too much because me and him had an interesting relationship. But if he...
I think he has a lot of interest in relationship, but he's still the man though.
Exactly. But if he did actually go and, if he was working in a different school and there was an opportunity for me to go with him, I probably would have done that,
Okay.
Not that he would have necessarily wanted me to be there.
Yeah.
But I would have done it because, the way that he worked, his context worked for me, but it definitely didn't work for other people.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I even had a friend who had worked there before, much older. She's my friend's mum. And when she found out that I was applying to this school, she was like, whatever you do, don't apply there. This man is absolutely X, Y, and Z. And it's just because, I think you knew where you stood. All the reasons why I liked him.
Other people didn't.
So find your context, go to a different school, or if you don't like the school system anymore, there's so many opportunities out there. It's totally nuts.
There are, and even in education as well.
Yeah.
There are so many different opportunities where you may still be able to have the impact on your community, a specific cohort. But it doesn't necessarily have to be in the classroom. So, All right, cool. Thank you. Question number 2. I think it's a big one for a lot of people. And it kind of feeds in. I want to leave. Like, I've made up my mind.
These are all about leaving.
Yeah. Let's be honest. They want to leave, man.
People do want to leave. We have to have
the conversation. The thing is, I haven't really seen where people are having an honest conversation. I want to leave, but I'm scared about the money. What do I do?
Yeah. When you figure out how to make your own money rather than, exchanging it for your time, essentially, the whole world completely changes. Like, I remember when I was saying before, I first started doing my work for free. Right? And then I remember I charged this guy like $300 or something for the month to do it. And I went to this place and I like celebrated being like, this is crazy. Like if there's one guy who's going to give me $300, that means that there must be other people who will do that. And it really doesn't work like that. Once you get that skill, you know, they say that if you were to like strip Elon Musk of whatever you think of him, of all of his money and stuff and his businesses, there's no way he's just not going to figure out a way to make it all again. He's going to go and create some new enterprising business and off he'll go. So yeah, if you're scared about the money, I would say don't be, because you know, you're so valuable as a teacher in a lot of other businesses. You would make way more money. I think the reality is that teaching, they're making you feel like that's a lot of money, and actually in the grand scheme of things, it's really, really not.
It sounds, I'm really sorry to keep going on about this. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of money, especially, and this isn't to get into anything about like government and tax and this and the other, but we have to appreciate that. And we did another episode where we were looking at teachers who are kind of going abroad for lifestyle. So like going to the UAE or different areas and this and the other. How you're taxed in this country, it is difficult. Cost of living, it is difficult. It's not that much.
Yeah.
It is not that much.
If you're a classroom teacher with a standard TLR, like one of the smaller ones.
Yeah.
You could get, that's a start, that's like the most basic salary for someone who's like maybe not even gone to uni at a mid-sized company.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because it's not like you're going to go from teaching to going and working at QuickFit.
Yeah.
It's very unlikely unless you work at head office.
Yeah.
You know, if you were to go and get a middle management job at QuickFit in the head office, I don't know what happens there, but you'd probably be doing pretty well.
Yeah.
You'd probably be, you know, financially, if that is your focus, you'd probably be doing better than your head teachers.
It is a risk, and I would say you'd have to plan it, especially kind of mortgage, kids, responsibility. Us teachers are a very responsible lot, you know. There is risk involved, but yeah, you're right. You're going to have to make the step. And
no risk, no reward. All of these things, those are cliches, but they really there for a reason. You know?
You started doing it, as you said, for free at the week. Like, was it like in your spare time?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I know sometimes you've got to make the time as well. A lot of people don't have any spare time. Yeah, you do, because you're scrolling on social media.
Definitely. How many Netflix episodes do you watch and stuff like that? Even now, I kind of beat myself up because in my evenings, I'm not working double time, which is what I used to do. But yeah, there's definitely time. I mean, I was lucky because I didn't have kids. I wasn't even married at the time. So it is different, you know, but I did have a mortgage, for example. And so there was some level of responsibility, but like, what are you going to do? There are people who are like 60 and then go and become a famous actor. It's never too late for you. You can go and do other things. You know, the point is, I think the crux is that I was looking at teaching. I was about 32 and I was thinking I'm going to be here until I'm at least 65 on probably basically the same salary because of real wages. So like, what's the fear of leaving? I'd rather roll the dice and bet on myself than bet on the school system changing, because I've seen people try to, you know, do the unions and speak to the head teachers. What are they all going to do? You know, you can't just, maybe I'm a bit of a naysayer, but I feel like it's not that easy to change a huge system like that. The education system is the same thing for the last like 200 years. You're not just going to change it because you don't like the fact that your TLR is a bit small or that you do too much marking. Just
on this one, do you think it's irresponsible to leave teaching without doing a bit on the side first? So like almost testing the theory, working on the side, seeing if it works, or do you say roll the dice?
It's whatever your appetite for risk is. I don't really know. It's up to you. I wouldn't say that it's irresponsible. I think it's irresponsible to not try to live your life in the way that you possibly can, especially when you're so qualified and so skilled. I would say that's irresponsible. But yeah, of course, you know, if you have like 3 kids and I don't know, one of them has huge medical bills and it all relies on your wage, then obviously you're going to have to think about it more than if you're like a 25-year-old who's done 3 years worth of teaching and is thinking, do I really want to stay in this? So that's obviously up to you. But even in those scenarios, you know, you never know what's going to happen. Like, you're not actually safe. Everyone thinks that they're safe, but you're not actually safe. You're just not. Like, the school system might not even be here. You don't have no idea what's going to happen.
One change of... And just kind of add to that, one of the things that has helped me, I don't want to sound like some kind of AI nut, but, and I'm not, I am not, just to be clear. Yeah, I am aware of the risks of AI and what they call it, like intellectual degradation.
I am an AI nut, by the way. I love it.
But if you have an idea, talk it through with one of the more easy to use AI softwares. I'm not going to name it. Just talk it through like, this is my idea. Blah, blah, blah. I've been a teacher for such and such years. I'm thinking about doing this. What are your thoughts? Okay, look at all the different angles. Okay, so if you and me, what would be the first 3 steps you would take to do X, Y, and Z? Blah, 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 blah. And because I remember over the Christmas, I really wanted to plan things out. And I waited until everybody had gone to bed. And I spent there was no social media. And it's almost like I was talking.
Yeah, I'm messing around with AI instead of watching Netflix now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But I'll be talking through it, okay? And I'll go through every single scenario. Sometimes you can overdo it. But once you say, all right, create an action plan for me, yeah, you've got it there and then. Whereas you never had those business experts or anybody, you've got access now to something that you can run your idea through.
You just have to be wary. It's a bit of a sycophant. Probably said, Ziggy,
that's an
incredible idea. You've hit the nail on the head there.
Funny, I sent my friend a text today. It's quite personal. And I think he ran his answer through AI and responded.
Love it. With the M dashes.
No, I think he's smart enough to remove those, but yeah.
You said about the intellectual degradation and stuff like that. I heard this thing the other day that when writing was created, bear in mind, historically that obviously wasn't always around.
Yeah.
A lot of people were really worried that this would ruin human intellect because we were exporting our memories to the written paper. The Luddites are a group of people who, when they created certain machines and lathes and stuff like that, they went and destroyed them all because they felt all their jobs were going to disappear. You don't think when the first dude saw a hammer or lady, they were not thinking, oh my gosh, everything's going to change.
Cooked. We're done. We're done.
Things change,
Yeah, it's true. It is true.
I just like to be optimistic. I suppose that's actually a large part of my story is that when I was in teaching, I started to become more and more pessimistic about how my life was going to look.
Yeah.
And I just reminded myself that actually I'm on one big adventure in this life and that this is not really my story anymore. This is not my adventure. So I thought I'm going to take a different turning. I'm going to see what happens. And, right now it's awesome. It wasn't always awesome. There are some bits that have been really hard. That's just life, really. But I don't think you can ever really regret betting on yourself. Who else are you going to bet on?
True. It's true. And and oftentimes you're inadvertently, or you don't know, you're betting on other people and you're putting your stocks in other people. And that takes a level of, if I'm going to be honest, takes a level of confidence that the more and more I'm kind of doing things, I'm realizing, because people are like, oh, right, you've done this and you've done that. I didn't really see it any other way.
Yeah.
Whereas I realized not everybody's kind of brought up like that. So I think also just to add, working on yourself and investing in yourself, this sounds very like self-help.
If I'm all for it,
yeah. But
the more you learn, the more you earn, all that kind of stuff.
All that kind of stuff. Because it's funny, I had a colleague and we were at 2 schools together, and the final school we were at was a boys' school in North London, and he was a business teacher. And I could tell we were both, he was coming to the end, he was like, this is long. He's like, you can't be a business teacher until you really do business. And he kind of just stopped. And he did it. He invested in himself. Actually, do you know what? I should get him on. Do you know what? I'm going to reach out to him. I'm going to get him on. And he invested in himself. And he's gone from strength to strength. But he spent a lot of money investing in understanding like marketing, digital marketing, and so on and so forth. And he has done really well. I am going to get him on. I'm definitely going to get him on. I'm going to reach out to him.
One thing about safety, people don't realize, like you said, that they're betting on someone else. The school next door to us closed down.
Oh, yeah.
I drive past it all the time. Yeah. That's it. It's gone.
Boarded up and that. It's crazy.
Yeah. So you just never know what's going to happen. You're relying on the senior leadership team and all of that to work.
It's true because and
even the area geographically can make an impact. Something socioeconomically, there's really nothing even to do with the school.
Yes. You've got schools reducing numbers, flight people just don't want to live in London anymore. They're moving out. No, it's true. All right, final question. Will I regret leaving teaching? That's the question. So, will I regret leaving? I'll leave the classroom. I'll go and become a entrepreneur, or I'll go and work in this amazing startup and they'll give me 10% equity in the business where I'm doing X, Y, and Z. But will I yearn for the classroom? Will I regret leaving teaching?
I doubt it. I think, to be honest, the couple of things. From my personal experience, I never regret it. I still think about it at least once a week about how glad I am that I left teaching. I always go running the same place. I go to the place I told you about where the guy first gave me $300 to do this job.
Yep.
And I go back there and I stop in the run and I just think about it and I think, gosh, my life is totally different. I could still be a teacher and it would just be so horrific. And I'm so grateful that I got out of that. So from my experience, no way do I ever regret it, not even nearly. You can ask anyone as well. There's like hundreds of thousands of people who've left. You could probably ask them. I bet none of them are saying, I really regret teaching. It's been such a pain. Although, saying that, I will try and give the other side. There is a couple of friends of mine who've left, really successful teachers, like up to assistant head, deputy heads, all these kind of things. But then they eventually left. And the reason they're speaking to me is because they know that I'm kind of through the other side and my life is like in a nice place now. And so they are feeling sometimes the strain of like, oh, how do I convert what I'm doing into making more money? Or like, oh, one person was doing a tutoring company and they're saying, oh, it's really difficult to stand out and I don't really know what to do with that. And maybe I need to go back to teaching. And I'm thinking, so just to give the other side that people do think that, but I'm definitely not saying to them, yeah, you're right, you should go back to teaching. I'm saying, no way, like you've already made the jump. It's just like, when you first leave, you have this blind optimism that you're going to create this business, ChatGPT or whatever has told you you're going to be amazing. And then you start it, you have a little bit of early success. And you're like, whoa, this is going to be incredible. Then it all slumps hard. And you're like, wow, I didn't realize how hard this is. And then most people quit or they go and try something else and they do that first initial hump a bunch of times. Or what the successful people, in my opinion, then do, and this is not a concept that I've come up with, people talk about it all the time online, they then grind out that dip. And then they start seeing the light and they start seeing, okay, actually, now it's not blind optimism. It's more like, I can see what I need to do. And if I do that enough times, then I should be able to continue up to that stage. And so all it takes now is for me to continue doing those steps. And I'm optimistic that it will get there. Most people quit at that stage or move. They try something different. They start a tutoring company, then their clients leave and they think it's game over.
All right. So just kind of a final thing. I know we've got a lot of people who are kind of maybe listening to this at home. A lot of people listen to this in their car on the way to school. Yeah, not say it's all teachers, right? So they're sitting in the car, they're at home, they're thinking about leaving. What's the one gem, kind of a short 30-second clip that you would say to that person?
Oh, gosh, that's so hard. What stage are they at? Like, are they really thinking about leaving? What do they need the gem on?
They're looking at the 31st of May.
Oh, right, okay.
And they're thinking about, should I just go into the office and give him and send that email? What would you say to them?
Well, get started right now. There's never a time to get started. Get started right now on something. Get into AI. Have a little look at what your options are. Go and throw out some applications if that's what you want to do. Go and speak to some friends who are working in other industries. See if you can get yourself a job there. That was just something that I was doing as well. I didn't just go and set up my business. Like, I spoke to my cousin. He works in a really successful business. So I was saying to him, if I were to leave, like, what might you be able to do? And he was like, I'm pretty confident I could get you in this kind of position on this kind of wage. I thought, that's not a lot less than where I'm at.
Yeah.
So there were options out there. So I would say start doing that. Start thinking about what you can do next. Because unless you put some sort of action in, nothing's going to happen. And you'll just be there the next 5 years. Like, I actually wanted to leave teaching after year one. I said it to you off air before. But because of the way that the school was structured, I felt like I was on a bit of a mission. So I continued going. But it's very easy to get trapped in there. They give you a promotion and then you're like, well, this is pretty cool. What you don't realize is that, like, you work so hard. It took me about 2 years to get like a 5K pay rise before tax. That to me is totally nuts. Like, there are people who are getting that from just a little bit of extra work. It's not like years and years of planning and doing these extra things and coming in on Saturdays and like, proving to their teacher doing this and that. And then they give you 5K, but then they give you an extra 3 hours work a day and it works out to be about two. I remember when I was looking at the assistant head thing, people, not to be too big headed, but people were suggesting, you should apply. And I didn't apply because I calculated the amount of hours that the assistant head was doing more than me.
Yeah.
And they were averaging like at least 2 hours extra a day, over the course of the year, because they have to do summers. And I worked out that the pay rise was barely anything because of my TLR. I was already, because L1 or whatever it was, can't remember. It was going to be like under £2 an hour.
Do you know, I think I've said this before, I did the same thing when I went for a second in charge in English and the NQT got it instead of me, which I still...
That's teaching right there.
Yeah, this is mad. Anyway, and I remember when she got her first wage, she was like, because she asked me, is this right? And when I found out how much she got, I was like, hold on. I tutor. I get more from that tutoring.
Yeah.
Why would... And that's when I decided to expand more education into, I could earn... So, you're 100% right. Just do it is a message. All right, listen. We've had an amazing podcast. And as you know, we've been producing these podcasts for... I think we've got over 30 episodes now, and we don't charge. It's completely free. This is completely free CPD. You get access to some of the some people in education who you wouldn't necessarily have access to. And all we ask for is what is it? A small tax. We're gonna ask for a small tax moving forward. Every episode, a small tax. If you've taken anything from this episode, if you've taken anything at any time from the SLT podcast, it's made you smile, it's made you think, it's made you laugh, you've used it in your own professional development or your own career, I'm going to ask you to do one thing. Just share this podcast with one other person. Tell them, take the link, share it to somebody, or even better, share it in those WhatsApp groups that we all know you're part of. That is the tax we're asking for to help us to grow. Now, we're going to wrap this episode up. Hugo, been a pleasure. I've got a feeling this isn't going to be the only time.
That would be fun. I'd like
I've got a feeling we're definitely going to see you again. So yeah, thank you very much for coming on. And guys, another episode of the SLT podcast. Thank you.